Hey guys, Sajady here. Hope all is doing well. I'm here live, so we don't. I'm not in the studio. I'm here in Sebring Raceway, watching my son race. Really exciting. It's the Porsche Cup. So it's really amazing. Again, sitting in the car, so loud out there, so crazy. I had to find a quiet place to come in from the sounds. I love the sounds though. It sounds so cool. If you guys are into, well, fast cars, loud engines, you would want to be here today. It's amazing how fast they can go. It's amazing how fast they can go, around the corner, and that's really key because a lot of people think it's just like, it's like, well, what's the big deal about racing? Well, it's huge. One, to the principles, the physics principles of keeping your car on the road and perfect and going as fast as you can is it's pretty amazing and it's pretty intense. It's not just stepping on the gas and going round and round in a circle, especially with this track because it's not a oval track. It's very curvy and very bumpy, by the way. So you'd have to understand the physics of the road, physics of the aerodynamics of the car. I mean, every detail. I was in the pits, with the mechanics, tire pressure, sway bars, tension, forward motion, forward braking speeds, all those things we have to, or you have to understand, the driver has to understand to, again, be one of the fastest on the track. And Alex, by the way, pretty amazing for the level of experience that he's had. So really proud of that guy. And again, we're all proud of him. So thanks for that. But the key is that life is the same way. You have to understand the physics of what's going on. If you don't understand the physics, you're going to crash. You're going to get fucked up. Simple as that. And just like driving on the raceway here, the physics or nature, right, of speed, in this case, forward momentum, motion, and so on, doesn't give a damn. It just doesn't give a damn on your feelings. It doesn't give a damn on how you feel, how you think the world should work, or anything like that. It doesn't care. Again, it doesn't really care about your attitude, your perception, your belief system, the way you think it should work, because it doesn't work that way. It doesn't care. And I say this in a very, very loving way. Okay. So whether it's nature, whether it's, the earth, or whether it's the planetary systems, earth, or the universal systems, it all runs on physics. It's all run on logistics. It's not run on emotions. What most people do is they run on emotions, they run on hunches, they run on guesses, they run on that inner feeling. How many of you have done that? And then how many of you have been wrong? Whether you're in a personal relationship, I mean, look at your personal relationships, right? You follow a hunch, your heart goes pitter patter. You love that person that you think you're gonna fall in love with for the rest of your life, and she's the one or he's the one, and then like 3 months later, what the hell happens, right? Or maybe even less. And then some of us, like I did that, shit, like 20 years later, it's like, what the hell? Why am I staying in here in this relationship, right? By the way, I do relationship talks, so take a look at that. It's on Moss on Sundays, especially if you've been in a traumatic relationship, how to recover. Just a new podcast on that. So that really, from the feedback we've gotten, it's not just about, when I talk or when we speak here, even on Moss on Sundays, it's an experience for you because I'm generating frequencies that help you transform or shift. So it's not just about logic up here. It's about the frequencies. It's about your body brain. Okay, not the emotions. So let's take a deep breath in. We'll make it an experiential experience for you. And if you're new, welcome. It might be totally new. You might go, who the hell is this guy? Well, this guy is basically an expert. I'll just get to the point. I'm an expert in space-time and how space-time affects human potential, human possibilities, human power. Again, it's all about space-time. And today we're going to be talking about how to create a winning strategy using future simulation. Yes, I said how to create a winning strategy using future simulation. So what does space-time have to do with that? By the way, space-time has to do with everything that you experience. Okay. The bottom line or the top level reason on why your life is not the way it is. It's not about your emotions. It's not about knowing the right person. It's not about having more money. It's not about anything like that. It literally is where you're situated in the fourth dimension, the fourth coordinate. What simulation of you is running, and that's very different than psychology. Anything that's out there, I don't care. Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, the latest research, the latest techniques in medicine, or anything like that. If you're in the wrong simulation, you're still going to be messed up. Okay, this is where again I can give you tons and tons of examples, but just three major ones. You make a hell of a lot of money. Keep it clean. You make a hell of a lot of money, and you think you're going to be successful and happy. Well, I work with those one percenters, even 1% of the one percenters. They're not happy with their money, especially with women. It's like, Moss, we closed $1 billion sale, real client, we closed $1 billion sale, and I thought I'd be really happy, but I've lost myself. I don't even feel like a woman anymore. How many of you highly successful individuals, especially women, go that way, right? You're totally successful, but you're still ill. You're still, addictive. You've lost yourself. You're burned out. And then those individuals who are trying to create success, thinking that, that's going to help you out. And then again, you still get burned out because you can't reach that success for some reason. Why is that? And you've tried, and you're intelligent enough. You're probably more intelligent than a lot of, say, people that hang out with you, right? Or that it's like shit. Why are they the boss? Why are they the leaders? What's happening there? It's not about your intelligence. It's not about your motivation. It's not about your gusto. It's not about your state. Some big guru says it's your state. It's your psychology. It's got nothing to do with that. It helps. I'm not saying it doesn't help. It helps, but that's only about, say, 1% factor on who or what you can really accomplish. The other 99% is depending on the simulation that you are running if you're operating. So if you're in a simulation, that you're always going to be abused, no matter what, no matter what you do, you'll always get abused. If you're in a simulation that, no matter what you have, and I'm just reading the audience here, no matter what you have, it's never good enough. It'll never satisfy you, or no matter what you do, will never satisfy your lovers, your children, your parents, or anything else. Still not good enough. How many of you run that pattern, right? No matter what the hell you do, no matter how good you get, it's not good enough for you. Why is that? What are you going to do about it? Again, you change your simulation. Some of you, surgery after surgery, illness after illness, no matter, you try the best therapies. Tony Robbins came out with this book, which I'll be reviewing, by the way. I think it's called Life Force. Really a fantastic book. It's got a lot of, say, treatments, technologies on it, the latest to keep you youthful and all that. But the key is here, and again, it's got great technologies, but the one key component that's missing, the magic bullet that's missing to keep you youthful and vibrant and ageless, is what simulation are you running? Because if you're a simulation of running, say, illness all the time, you're always going to be perpetuating. You're always going to be taking a ton load of vitamins, minerals, whatever supplements or surgeries after, one after the other. So your whole life is going to be based on, say, something like that. I need to do this next. I need to do this next. You're on this endless treadmill. It's like, when is it going to stop? Well, when you get off that simulation. So that's really key, and that this is what's so important, and this is why how to create a winning strategy using future simulation. So what does that mean, right? This is very close to computer simulation, by the way. You've heard computer simulation, right? It's where they enter in a certain variables, they enter in their trajectory, and then the computer, the AI, usually, runs a simulation of different probabilities. If you do X, this is what happens. If you do Y, this is what happens. If you do Z, this is what happens. So in this talk, I'm going to be talking about, one, how future simulation compares to conventional methods of discovery or invention, like science research, data mining, and even software simulations. So we'll talk about that, science of future simulation, and how it can benefit you. on, like, say, trading, right? Because I've helped a lot of people trade a lot better, or research and development. I've helped companies narrow their downtime, their research time, not by like years, but literally, well, by years. This one was about, say, 6-year research. They were thinking about it. We dropped it down to about, say, 6 months. That's a lot of resources, right? That's a lot of time being squeezed. How do you do that? By future simulation, you can be more and more accurate. And then 3, how can you start using future simulation, not just in your professional and, business needs, or, trading, but in everyday life. Okay, so we've got a lot to cover, guys. We're going to get started right away. And then right afterwards, I'll go ahead and scan people and tell you exactly where you are. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in. Uh, notice your chest. And I'll work on you throughout the call to help you understand what future simulation is about. So 1, how does it compare to, say, science research, science data? Okay, well, 1, nowadays, unfortunately, there's that, cleaner science out there, but unfortunately right now, the science and the way, research runs, they've got individuals who invest a lot of money. Usually those individuals who throw a lot of money at the research and the data that they're trying to find, well, that skews the data, because if the research facility wants, say, more business out of it, well, they want to have positive data, unfortunately. And that's what you're seeing nowadays, right? You're seeing a lot of data that gets skewed, especially through the pharmaceuticals, unfortunately. Which is really, really sad. So we don't understand the data, but that's beside the point. Outside of just, like, human greed and so on, like that, and that's why scientific data is really messed up. You can't trust anything nowadays, unfortunately, especially what you hear in the media and so on. You want to get to the core factor, and actually you want to go before the researchers even, say, delve the data, or scour the data and give you a report, because that report is tainted. You want to find out the real research. So that's beside the point. Okay, outside of that, which is a huge point, by the way, but say that was just clean data. Okay, there's a lot of issues with just clean data. Okay, outside the human factor, greed factor, there's a lot of issues with human data, because 1, the technology that we need gets better and better over time. So it's not good enough. There's a ton of variables that we don't even understand on why happens the way they do. So we're just guessing on why stuff happens, and then we test for it. But what about all the other variables, right? And how many variables can you test in a certain situation, especially if you don't know what to test for? And that's why every decade or so, through scientific data, back in the day, they actually thought, um, using certain chemicals on your face, eye makeup and so on, was really fantastic, which is crazy. Now, and then God, what was it? There's a certain chemical in makeup, is an iridescent. Um, um, what's it? God, now I'm forgetting. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of a memory gap here, but again, very detrimental to you, right? Radioactive chemicals, literally, Marie Curie, right? She didn't know. Her whole office, her whole book, all her books, all her lab results, everything was tainted with say, chemicals. They didn't know about it, but she was studying it all the time. She discovered it. It was amazing. It's amazing. But later on, we figured out, shit, that stuff's bad for you. But they used to do it. They used to use it in makeup, by the way, because it was iridescent. Kind of crazy shit, right? And scientists go, oh yeah, shit, that's okay. Scientists back in the day thought cigarettes was good. Oh yeah, you can smoke. But in fact, there was a lot of, say, commercials. Scientists go, hey, smoking is good. To release the stress if you're pregnant. Or alcohol is okay too. But again, and then later on we find out, and that's just health issues, but other aspects of it as well, right? It just It just doesn't work out because, again, over time, we start to understand through human experiences or human feedback that shit, something's messed up. Why did we mess up? And then unfortunately, it's like, a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades later that we go, oh my God, I can't even believe what we thought we believed in. Back in the day, did you guys know? And I think one of the Kennedys suffered this severe depression. They cut out one of the Kennedy's frontal lobe. They used to do that for severe depression. They just go in, cut your frontal lobe off, and they thought that was good. So again, do you guys want to know that? Wouldn't you want to know ahead of time if it's really accurate? So I can go on and on and on and on about, say, how inaccurate, although we do better and better. I'm not knocking it down, but there's got to be a better way. That's all I'm saying. We've made great strides, but all I'm saying is we could be better and better. Okay. The best place that we've made really great strides is, say, physics, mechanics, like car racing, trajectories, taking people to the moon. But when it comes, say, to humans, there are so many variables that we don't understand. It's pretty hard to tell, and it's taken a long time for us to understand, even, say, the physics of motion and so on, although we've got a good handle on it. But we could do a lot better because there's a lot of materials and so on that we don't even understand, or we could create if we had future simulation or future vision, as I call it. So that's one. Data mining, right? Data mining, that's where you accumulate all this data, like Google would, or the government would on you, or logistics or statistics, right? But then, data mining is okay. There's trends, but, you know, something happens to you. Say, for example, and this is a real situation, where some food is not good for you, right? Say like beef or meat or something might not be, it's say, hey, because of people eating beef, then it's not good for you. Right? And then this is people get skewed off. But in fact, it's the grain fed antibiotics. Hello? Hello? We're losing you a little bit. Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah, maybe turn off video and I'll put a background on. Okay. Here, let me. Is this better? Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. Hey guys, sorry about that. I guess yeah, this might be better for us. Guys, sorry about that. Again, I'm on the raceway in the parking lot. Try to get a quieter space, but just couldn't. Alrighty. So back to again, data mining. So data mining, again, we don't understand the variables. We just understand the trends on what happens to people. So that's one issue with one out of several issues with data mining. Again, because we don't understand, say, the background on the effects. We're just studying the after effects. Right. The next aspect of us is computer simulation. So computer simulation is all about, we put in all the possible variables that we can think of. Okay. And then we feed it into a computer. Usually, again, it's AI, artificial intelligence, and sometimes it comes up with, say, different, say, probabilities or possibilities on what can happen. But even then, there's a lot of, say, variables that we aren't accounting for, or where there's a lot of variables that we're not accounting for. So the problem with that, like I said, is that we have to enter in all the possible variables. So it just goes back to scientific research. We can't understand, we can't. There we go. Hello, I'm good now. So should I turn the video on or what? Sorry, guys. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. Okay. All right. Thanks. Hey guys, sorry, I'm back again live here. Um, um, so again, what's, why, can we use, say, better resources? Because can we use better techniques? Okay. So what I've discovered over the decade, and I've worked on hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, about 100,000, say, client sessions, which is quite a bit actually. Okay. 100,000 client sessions, which is huge, by the way. So that's a lot of, say, that's a lot of the experience. Experience is the best, especially human experience, because human experience. We can put one, certain coincidences together, or certain situations together, and learn and grow from it. Okay, it's like computer simulation, but there's something even better that bypasses that, and that's what I have, by the way. So, what future simulation is, through, again, is very close to computer simulation, but future simulation all about all about, where you are in reference to where you want to be. And this is really key. So again, let's take a deep breath in. Again, the key is like, how, where do you want to go? What happens? So if it's based on Einstein's theory of relativity, by the way, depending on where you are, right? Depending on where you are, it depends on, say, the next step for you. Say, like, if I need to go through the kitchen to get to my living room, well, I can't go from, say, the garage to my living room without, bypassing the kitchen, right? So depending on where I am compared to where I want to go, you have this trajectory. So that's what future simulation is about. So depending on where you are in a simulation experience, not your emotions, not your health, not your pocketbook or anything like that. It's about how you are rendering yourself in space-time, in the fourth dimension. Once you understand that, you can understand, say, where you can go from there. Straight out simple. It's straight out logic. It's straight out physics. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, comment in, guys, if that makes sense for you. Take a breath in. There you go. So this one, for example, you want to be free of physical pain. And I'll read some of these things and how future simulation works for you. Okay. So in this, whoever said this, Bonnie, I want to be free of physical pain. So think of it this way, Bonnie. If you're in a simulation of who you are, okay, no matter what you've tried, there's always been some kind of pain. Or if you don't have pain, there's always burden around you. Right. And Bonnie, again, please write in. Okay. Please comment in. If I analyze you or scan you guys, please comment in on how accurate it is. It's not about, I know I'm accurate, but it's best for you to go, hey, what the hell does this guy tap into? Because it allows you to, one, believe in yourself in a higher version, and then it's like, what's that, say, universe or that data field that Moss taps into, because you can all tap into it as well. So again, it makes it more solid for you. Okay. So you want to be free of pain. And we'll just use Bonnie's example. So no matter what she's done in the past, why is she always in pain? And again, if it's not physical pain, it's emotional pain. If it's not emotional pain, it's fear pain, right? Because fear has a lot of pain. So where does that come from? Because Bonnie, runs a simulation of always being in some sort of, say, treachery. Let's just put it that way. Let's just make it easy. So emotional state, no matter how much research she does, no matter how much, say, scientific data, no matter how much medicine she takes, could be the latest medicine. If she's running a simulation of always being, say, in treachery, like Bonnie, No matter what the hell you do, you will be what? In treachery. That's my point. Okay. So future simulation, if you start to understand it, and the way you understand it is by what I call spatial referencing. Okay. Spatial referencing allows you to understand what simulation or what your reality you are creating yourself in. And then you start to understand, oh shit, I'm creating this type of reality. You start to see the patterns that you're running, not just a certain experience, but then you start to see the patterns that you're running. And it's really powerful to go, oh my God, I can't believe I've been running this pattern. And then once you run or once you observe this pattern that you're running, you all, it's freeing. It's if you that's 50% of your cure right there, because you'll go, holy crap, it's so clear to me now. And then your emotions start to say come into center. Okay, your emotions start to say guide you. It's like, gosh, your logic starts to change, your attitude, your belief system all redirect itself into, say, a better possibility of you to get out of the hole that you're in. Okay. So let's take a deep breath in again. So where does future simulation go? Well, for me, for example, you can ask me like Bonnie, like say Bonnie, hey, I'm going to go try this therapy out. I'm going to get to try this therapy out. But in a simulation that she's stuck in, she can try a therapy, which is, again, still within the same simulation or creation of who she is, probably won't work out. Right? So what you do with Bonnie, for example, is like, hey, Bonnie, you know what? Let's move you into another simulation of yourself where you're not dealing with treachery. That's not your main pattern. Okay. How do you get there? Well, you start to remove, again, the filters. You start to understand the patterns or filters that you're running. So Bonnie starts to move into another aspect or probability of her life. And then there, that therapy would be a lot better. It'll work for her much, much better. Psychology would work much, much better. Money would work, or that relationship would work much better. And that's what I do. Okay. So that's your personal space, or that's your personal method of, say, shifting through future simulation. But then the key is especially if it's like product research or say stock trades, or Bitcoin trades and so on like that. It's like, well, how can I change myself? One is the underlying factor. If you're a scientist or if you're a business person, again, if you're trading stocks and so on like that, here's the key. If you're running patterns of, say, treachery or bad luck or whatever it might be, for example, you're going to start to accumulate, you're going to start to attract those situations that you will have bad luck no matter what you do, right? You have this perfect trade, and then all of a sudden something happens, or you're doing research and development, and like time after time after time, accidents happen, bad luck happens, whatever you want to call it. Why does that happen? Because again, you're in that trajectory of situations that cause you bad luck or whatever it might be. So one, you clean yourself up first, you fix yourself, you're in the perfect stimulation of yourself. Basically, what that is about is that you are in a situation where your next step, the next version, the next simulation of yourself is not, say, laced with short changes, bad luck, or anything like that. It's about efficiency. So let's take a deep breath in. Imagine yourself on a graph paper. Okay? Close your eyes. I'll guide you into a state. Imagine yourself, again, graph paper. You're on the sheet, and in this graph paper, again, graph paper, it's got the squares, got the horizontal line and then the vertical line, again, little squares, right? Remember back in chemistry day, physics days? Take a breath in again. Notice where you are. Make it real simple for you. Notice where you are. And again, just it's an XI visualization, so it's very different than normal visualization. Not going to discuss the difference here, but we do on the 18-day hyper meditations where we transform your life in 18 days, literally. Notice your chest. So what you are seeking, no matter what it is, on this graph paper, notice where you are, and then whatever you want or you're seeking, notice where that is. Notice how far away it is. For you to, in order for you to enjoy whatever you're seeking, you would have to change the simulation of where you render yourself, or basically how you view yourself, your self image. Very important to note that it's not what you're seeking that will satisfy or nourish you. So that you are seeking can only satisfy you where it renders itself. Unfortunately, what happens is that people create what they seek where they are now. You are the wrong version to hold that thought or idea or concept into reality of yourself. So if you bring that reality true, you distort it. So if you pull that into you, for example, it'll mess you up. The best inventions, the best thoughts, and again, this is for individuals, and then like world problems. We pull it into the same consciousness or the same simulation that has the issues. It doesn't work. You can look at anything, any data, any as long as you're off, as you're long as you're in the same, say, consciousness or simulation of yourself, whether you're again individual, company, family, human species, it'll be fucked up, no matter what you do. So take a deep breath in, and I'll help you feel this, and then we'll go even deeper. So notice what you want. Just imagine what you want or what you think you need. It doesn't matter. Okay. Let me help you pull into it in your current state. Notice how that feels. It might feel good initially, but then a few months down the line, notice how it feels. A year down the line, notice how it feels. 5 years down the line, notice how it feels. 10 years, 20 years down the line, notice how that feels to you. It dissipates. Breath in again. Open your eyes. What if you started to harmonize yourself to whatever you wanted? And love, money. Notice how you float over to where you want to be, but you do it the right way. So there's a version of you that can handle whatever that you need is the key. Notice how that feels. So this is another simulation that I'm putting you, another simulation of yourself that I'm putting you in. Breath in. Does it see that it, do you see that it magnifies the brilliance of you? It doesn't distort you, disorient you, shortchange you. There you go. So this is high level goal setting called spatial goal setting. It's the most potent form where you don't lose or destroy others nor yourself for that goal. There's hard work, but there's no sacrifice. It's quite amazing. So take a breath in. I'll have you stay in a simulation, and for many of you, you'll start to gravitate towards what you're seeking just out of this mini session here. Now imagine being 18 days in this, where you're tip top shape, you're at your optimum, and then you gravitate to whatever you need even more. But again, just doing this mini hyper meditation will get you closer to your goal for almost all of you. That's how powerful it is. And again, it only took a couple of minutes, but take a deep breath in. That's not even about future simulation. It's getting you to, say, an optimal level of self where you can start using future simulation. So future simulation is, say, a company, or again, at a personal level, say company, personal level, stock trading, say, hey, where does, and this is what I do, by the way, if you want to know how I change you so radically fast, this is where you know, again, on that graph paper, you're standing on this graph paper. It's a floor. It's graph paper, okay? You might hear racing sounds in the background again. Guys, they started up again. Okay, so it's the same thing. Let's say like you're a company or again, a stock trade. We'll use, stock trading. Stock trading is, say you want you want the stock to go up, or cryptocurrencies to go up. You're not sure which way it's going to go, so you can use future vision to understand which way it's going to go, far beyond, say, technical trade. In fact, I was more accurate than, fortunately, the hedge fund that I was investing in. They didn't follow my lead, fortunately. But take a breath in again. So this is where you go, if I did X, so you have three choices. Okay. Notice you're on this graph paper. And again, I'm guiding you. So it's clear you might not be able to do this on your own until you get proficient enough. Okay. But I'm overriding your distortions. Okay. So you have three choices, whatever it is. Product, do we go with product A? Do we go with product B? Do we go with product C? Or different versions of it, for example. Or stock trade. Do I go with stock trade A or B or C? Is it going to go up or down? Notice where they are in the simulation, because in this reality, there's a probability that the stock will either go up or down. There's a probability that more people will buy, say, product A, B, or C. So you start to understand where those probabilities or simulations of that occur, because it's a probability in this reality. Hopefully that makes sense for you. Take a breath in again. There we go. So notice where those probabilities are of those certain things that you want. Or you might go, you know what? I want to develop a product that does X, Y, and Z. How do you get there? You have a product in mind or a technique in mind or a concept in mind. And then you go, well, where is that in this fourth dimension? Where is it in this reality? Because again, possibilities are space-time based. You have to be in that simulation for it to work. And this is where inventors kind of get messed up. Even the great minds like Tesla. That's why he got fucked up as he aged, unfortunately. A lot of those great inventors, what they do is they grab the invention from that, say, um, fourth dimensional coordinate, but they grab that invention, pull it into their reality, and then they get disoriented, they get distorted. Even Elon Musk, by the way, if you know him personally, I bet he's a little very different, say, and not as sociable as you'd think, because he can't. Well, don't want to get into that, but I'm going to start reading like great minds and help you understand how to do it right. But for example, if you did this, say I have this product, where is it on this, say, chart? That's what I do for you. And again, I teach you how to do it. Okay, where is it on, say, the fourth dimension? And then you start to see where you are in comparison. So that's why higher level spatial referencing is highly important, guys. And then you go, well, I want to go from point A to point B. How do I do that? What's the trajectory? Which way do I have to go? What do I have to get through? What simulations or versions of myself do I have to get through to get to that point? And then when you can do that, again, you become the knowledge, the intelligence, the vibrancy, the success. It's not a facade, it's not a layer of you. You've transformed to accommodate that version of who you are or that version of that successful product. And if you can create your version, and I help people skip over layers as well or over simulation, so it's a lot easier. But you can see the trajectory. You can see how close it is. You can see how popular it would be. You can see all the market data. If you did, product A in maybe even a certain color, how successful would it be compared to product A in a different color. You can see again the visual or how it runs and all the statistics, just like marketing data, you can get that good. And I do help companies with that, by the way. You can do the same thing. So let's take a deep breath in. Hopefully that makes sense. So I was not only showing you the possibilities of future vision, and again, scientists can use this. I use this I use this to figure out and calculate which way humanity is going, the direction of humanity. I calculated, say, exactly the stuff, the side effects, the after effects of, say, what's happening with COVID, with vaccines, a year or so before the vaccines and all that. That's how accurate it can be, guys, because it allows you to see the simulation and then all the possible, say, variables that attribute to that simulation that you don't even know about, but you see the end outcome. You don't have to know all the possible variables because you're seeing the end outcome, which is really cool. If you're trying to invent or create a product or create a life for yourself, if you can create that simulation of yourself, and it's not just by visuals, by the way, it's by frequencies. Einstein said, if you can resonate or match the frequency of what you want, okay, there's no way in hell, he said it better, but there's way in hell that you're not going to attract that in your life. It's straight out physics. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. And I'm proving that with every client that I work on. So as you take a deep breath in again, it's much more advanced than anything out there. This is where you get super healthy naturally, and you don't have to keep trying to stay healthy. You don't have to keep trying to stay young. You just are. And then you gravitate to those things that are or will keep you young, which is huge, by the way. So advanced future vision, this is where, like remote viewing, those kind of things, that's nothing compared to what I'm talking about. The remote viewing, the army uses it, military uses it, Russia, the US use it, they hire people that remote view. That's child's play compared to future vision that I'm talking about. And remote vision is it's okay. There's people that are very accurate at it. But again, future vision, once you hone those abilities with remote vision, it's again, the techniques and the accuracy is pretty damn amazing, especially when you get really, really, really good. Now, this is very different than psychic abilities, by the way. This is very different than intuition. Intuition, psychic abilities are physical based. They go through your emotions. That's really the key. You have to bypass, say, your physicalness of this reality, transcend into a higher version of yourself. So you're hovering over space time, the fourth dimension. And you can do that. I do that. Tons of other people that I've trained to do that, where you hover over space time and then you can see the possibilities. It's like looking over a maze, or it's like looking over a field, right? Or a city. It's like, shit, I want to go there. Or like looking over, again, you go higher levels, right? People do that all the time, right? We need to go to the highest place so we can see where we're going. You're going to a higher place. It's not just land, though. This is just in another dimension, in a higher reality or consciousness of yourself. But when you can create like that, the wherewithal, the people, knowledge, all those things that are needed to create that reality will show up for you. There's still work, by the way, because you have to render it in physical form, but it's fun. Hopefully that makes sense. Alrighty, guys. We can talk more about that, but again, the key is, guys, that it's all about, again, frequencies. It's basically the origin of frequencies. It's very different than normal frequencies. What we create is actually the origin of those frequencies. So as a note, the 18-day, not the 18-day elevation starts in April. Okay, so every Monday in April. If you're new to XI physics, the fastest way to transform your life, hands down, guys. I don't guarantee a lot of things. Well, I do guarantee a lot of things, but again, it's hands down the fastest way to transform your life, no matter what you're used in the past. Okay, people have healed themselves of crazy diseases from awakening. Again, I'm not saying I cure anybody. I'm just saying once you awaken to your higher version, you cure yourself from the craziest things. Let's see here. Kind of lost my. There we go. All right. What else was I going to say? So elevation begins tonight, Sunday, March 13th, guys. 9:30 p.m. Central is the frequency spa. Okay, if you're new, you might want to try it out. It's frequency spa where we where we where we get you in a state of youthfulness, so you have that inner beauty, not just your outer beauty. Okay? It is like going to a spa treatment. By the way, we developed the frequency spa because when people were practicing XI or becoming exponentially intelligent, they started to realize that their beauty treatments, whatever they did, outside this, in a spa, lasted a lot longer. They were more beautiful on the inside as well. So, so we've got a frequency spot coming up for that. It's 9:30 p.m. Central Time. We have a special personal optimization on stabilization. It is March 27th at 10:30 p.m. That's really it's a great opportunity for you to stabilize or help you understand what reality that you're in, or what, say, simulation that you're creating. It'll allow you to understand the programs and patterns that you're running, so you know where you are exactly, and then it allows you to go towards the trajectory that you want. Personal deprogramming coming up. That's Wednesday, March 30th. It allows you to release all the stuff that is not necessary for you. All right. So again, a lot of good stuff coming up. Let's go back to, just give me 1 second, guys. I lost Safari here. Safari. Just give me 1 second, guys. Dang it. Again, I'm on location. Give me back to Safari. All right, guys. So let's. Where are we here? 1 second here, guys. Here we go. All right, guys. It's like share. I lost the chat. Sorry about that, guys. 4 likes. Again, guys, if you're new to me, again, share this channel. Give me 1 second, guys. Journey, life decisions, predictions, 2022. Life decisions. Can't. Hey, Zach, I can't find the chat now. What happened to the chat? Glad I have my son here with me. Oh, here we go. All right, guys. Here we go. Sorry about that. All righty. So this part of Moss on Sundays is where I actually analyze you, scan you, and tell you exactly what's going on with your life. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead. Again, I don't need to know your real name or anything like that. I actually connect with your frequency signatures. It's like an IP address that I connect with. So, and then you can go, especially if you're new, go, hey, I'm new. Please scan me. And I will scan you. By the way, if I do scan you, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not anything like that. So um, just note that it's just what I see. You have to do your own research on it. Also, if you do say, hey, you want to be scanned, you're allowing us to use your content, your content on public media, because it is a public show in the future as well. Okay, and if you don't want that, then don't ask to be scanned. Simple as that. All right, this one, well, here we go. No scan, just more Medi. Yeah. Uh, Again, the 18 days is really good for that. 18-day hyper meditations. We're on day 6. Those people on an 18-day hyper meditation guide, day 6, especially if you're new, comment in on how's that going for you. Massive transformations. I would say 3, 4, 5 decades of transformation for many of you just within the 6 days, right? Again, comment in if you can. This one's from Jim Sakura, right? I'm new to this. Welcome, Jim. So, Jim, what's going on with you? If you don't mind me scanning you, is that, well, one, you have like upper chest issues or upper identity issues, so to speak. So when you're with somebody, especially with, a love partner, when you're with somebody, with that person, you hold on to their identity, and it's always like it's like you become subservient. It's like, well, what do they want? And again, the deal is that you become subservient. And if you become subservient too long, Jim, what happens is like you lose your identity, you lose yourself, and then you become, say, you there's regret in you, right? It's like, shit, why didn't I experience this? Why didn't I experience that? And even if you did experience something that you wanted, you didn't experience it through your own life, you experienced it through their eyes, or through their feelings and emotions. And this is where life becomes, well, not as well, kind of empty, or kind of like, almost, it's like you were there but you weren't there, again, because you're experiencing it through some other's feelings, emotions, and so on, like that. If there's something new for you, it's like, well, I'll set my tastes or my desires aside. I'm just going to say, what would so and so like for me to do? What would so and so like in this situation? If you're picking out clothes, it's like, I wonder what so and so would like for me to wear. And again, it might not be you, it might not be your taste. Fortunately, you always connect with people that don't resonate with you, or are off, or aren't safe parallel to you, and then that makes it even a bit worse. So take a deep breath in, Jim. By the way, if you're running the same similar patterns as Jim, I'll be working on you as well. Okay. So for you, Jim, is like, hey, let's help you make your own mind, your own thoughts, your own patterns, right? You get to see what Jim likes, not other people. So, which is really important. That kind of goes back to, say, your mother's patterns. It's like you were, again, a young man of your own, but then something happened. I want to say something happened to your mom around 10, 11, 12 years old. Something happened to your mom, and then basically it's just boom. You took care of her, or something, or she became, say, dominating, or she lost herself. Uh, Kind of see alcoholism in there as well, again, or loss of mental aptitude, so to speak. And then it's like you had to take over, or she took over you. Either way, basically you started to cater to her, and then, well, and that's how you kept it. So, so we can definitely remove that, and that's what I was helping you with. Moving on, this one is it Braun? Yeah, Braun Airbach. And again, if I mispronounce your name, so sorry about that. Please give me a scan. So, is it Braun? Aircon. There we go. Not Braun. Aircon. Airback. Airberk. Yeah. ERCN. All right. Please give me a scan. Sure. So what you're doing is you're starting to see, you're starting to awaken, you're starting to take back control of who you are. In the past, you probably oh yeah, you'd get pushed around. Again, it's kind of similar to, say, the last individual, but you basically get pushed around. It's almost like, let's see, you don't play a victim type pattern, but you get into situations where you have great ideas, so on, and all that, and then nobody listens to you. Okay. Or you say something, and then people go, no, that's not it. That's not the reason why we're going this way. Again, it's like whatever that you put out there on the table, it gets rejected, or basically you get rejected as a whole in life. So, a lot of things happen for you. For example, everything is going well, and then all of a sudden you get to a certain point, and then that person rejects you. So in this case, relationships, you get to a certain point, and boom, it's like, I don't know what the hell happened. Why did this person reject me? Well, Well, because you run a pattern that you can only go so high to a certain level, and then you reject it. So whether it's a thought, a relationship, or even money, you can only gravitate to a certain level of success. So people that run your patterns, you get to a certain X number of whatever that number is, right? A level of success, and then you can't go beyond that. Okay. And could you call it a glass ceiling? Yeah, maybe. I call it more of a leash, basically. You can go only extend so far and then you get snapped back. 1, 2, 3. And this is where you've had like 3 opportunities or 3 success possibilities. You went to a certain limit and then it crashed and then you started over again. And so it's that type of cycle. It seems like you've been awakened by whatever that you've done with me. So we can easily disconnect that. Again, 18-day hyper meditations and even this mini session will really get you going into that new space. And this is so what that means for you is that you're going to hit the end of your leash. Just think of you're an animal, and you're just like running, right? And then it's like, woo, I'm free. And then all of a sudden the leash snaps and it snaps you back. So that's that pattern that you're running. This time around, and I was pushing you, is like, instead of just running and snapping you back, you're going to not cautiously, but you're going to make a nice stride towards it. You're going to stop at the end of the leash and you go, hey, I'm free. And then it's your choice to go beyond that leash and you can disconnect that leash. So you're at that point and I was helping you go, fuck it, I'm going forward. And then there's no fear or anything like that going through. I feel very empty and I don't have much support. So you are going through a process, um, and you're feeling empty and not much support again, probably through the process of exponential or becoming exponentially intelligent. Okay, is that you're actually seeing how empty or you've been in the past. So you're stronger more than ever. By the way, whoever this is um, Onako, Onako. So whoever that is, feel very empty and I don't have much support. Again, you've always run that in the past. The difference this time, okay, and it's very key. Some of you who go through the process, again, the 18 days, we're on the 6th day. Many of you probably go through, say, that process, not feeling empty, but whatever that, your pattern is. What happens there is that you've always felt empty. And then what you did was you sold yourself, right? You let yourself go. It's like, shit, I'll do anything for that person to like me or love me. And then after a while, you felt empty about them. That's the difference. That is the only difference. Now you're feeling empty and you're not selling yourself. So in a very short time, you'll go, wait a second. I don't need to sell myself or shift myself or lose my, own passion for life to make other people happy, because that's what you do, right? And then you make yourself unhappy. This way is like you feel empty for a little bit, you'll reclaim yourself, and you go, wait a second, I can go inwards and I'll feel complete. And then you'll have that bond with your higher version of who you are. And then you'll never feel empty again. So you're almost there. Hopefully you're on the 18 days. You're almost there. You'll feel really more and more connected, and then you'll feel solid and you'll feel, say, flourishing from the inside out rather than always wanting something from the, outside of you or another person, which never satisfies you anyway. So again, you're a great place to be. I was pushing you forward to go inwards and understand and stabilize yourself on the inside. This one is Maria. So Lossel, Lossul. Hamas, can you please scan me? Sure, you're always in your head. You're always worried. It's almost like you're always in a lot of fear from what I'm seeing. Yeah, you're always in a lot of fear and you've moved out of your body and into your head thinking that, if I use logic, then I'll be safer. I'll be good to go. But then your logic isn't, say, the cleanest or the purest, unfortunately. And then you get yourself into situations where you lose yourself more, and then you get more fearful. And it's like, well, I'll use more logic. And this is where you get into situations, Maria, or Marie, where what's happening is that, you're giving up on yourself and you're going, fuck, I'll just let somebody else do the thinking for me. And then obviously it gets worse that way because again, you lose yourself even more. So one, we need to reclaim yourself. And that's, again, that's what I'm helping you with. Starting to understand that your body is actually the safest place to be. Seems like you've moved out of your body for being safe. And maybe when you were a child, did you go through abuse? No. Did you see abuse? Yeah, it seems like, let's just say you were in a rough environment. You might have not gone through, say, tragedy or abuse or whatever it might be, but you saw a lot of that stuff around you, so you didn't feel safe. Many kids do that, unfortunately, and then you feel safe, being in your head. So you escaped into your head and allowed your body or allowed your physical form. And this, by the way, you probably don't remember a lot in your childhood either, because again, you were lost in your head. So again, helping you come back into your body because it is safe again. Um, uh, New here, love your podcast. Thank you. If I could please have a scan, would be great. This is Betty Sikora. And Betty, you might, yeah, on the Best UTV, you might really love that. So for you, Betty, for you, what's happening is that uh, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 identities in you, for example. It's not like 3 identities in you, but you try to please people, 3 different versions of yourself. If they're running personality X, then if they're basically, there's 3 different versions of you. So yeah. So what that means is that, well, there's 3 different versions. So if you're running in a certain, back in the day, there was a hell of a lot more versions of you, but you've gotten tired of that and you've narrowed it down to say 3 bulk versions of yourself. So when you were younger, what would happen to you, Betty, is that, you just be running all over the place trying to make people happy. Okay. When you're a little kid, from what I'm seeing, it's like, oh, I'm going to do everything to make this person happy. I'm going to do everything to make this person happy. And again, there's so many different ways of making people happy, right? That's the key, right? So you go back and forth. It's like, and then you get tired. It's like, fuck, I can't do this. I can't be all to everybody, because you have a beautiful heart. Again, you try to please everybody, you try to help people, but then how you help them is you're giving a piece of your spirit or your soul to other people. That's what you're exchanging. Okay. You're not just exchanging the physicalness of you or the physical help of you. You're literally giving your soul or spirit away, which is, again, and then you get to a point, it's like, fuck, and by the time 18, 19, 20, it's almost like it's not a mental breakdown, but kind of a breakdown, so to speak. And it's like, fucking, I'm done with this. So what you've done is created 3 solid identities. I'm going to be this, or this, which is better than having, thousands or hundreds of identities. But then, even 3 of you is a lot, because within those 3, you've just compartmentalized, those thousands or hundreds within each one. Okay, so it's easier to say manage. And then it's like, I don't know who I am. This is where no matter what you try, the other 3 are never satisfied with who you are. That makes sense? So there's actually 4 of you, 3 personalities that you say honed to be, and then 1 you, the real you. So it's like, oh, I'm going to give a talk today, or I'm going to be with my parents today. I'm going to run personality X. And then when you're alone, you go back to being Betty. And then, but the thing is, the personality X just went through that experience, not you. So Betty feels isolated and alone. And as you age, you'll feel more and more sequestered or isolated. By the way, your spine starts to curve or dries out, so to speak. Again, not a doctor, huh? I'm just telling you, if you look at your elders, it seems like your spine gets weaker and weaker. I can, again, I'm not saying I can help you with it, but I can probably help you with that, help you understand why that is, and then basically, go, hey, I don't need to age like, I think it's your father, by the way. I don't need to age like my father. So here, what I was helping you do is help you understand the three personalities that you've created, and then absorb the best things out of those personalities, buddy, and then pull those pull those things into you, and then you can let go of those three personalities. Okay. Again, they're personalities. It's not like you have multiple personalities. It's just that you cater in three different ways. Okay. Bruno CC, last one, guys, and then we'll call it a day. Bruno CC, love a scan. So Bruno, so your backside, it's almost like somebody is pushing you into a direction that you don't want to go. Um, yeah, there's always you're always like going towards a direction in life that you don't want to go towards. And then, halfway down the pathway, it's like, shit, where the hell am I going? And then you kick your heels in. And this is like, no matter if that person is beneficial to you or what they say is beneficial to you, you go, fuck, no way. I'm not going there. And then, well, there you go. And then you go nowhere. And then you kind of like cycle around, so to speak. You keep cycling. That's the deal. Your life cycles, and it could be different cycles. There's monthly cycles for you. If you look at, if you observe, there's yearly cycles, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-year cycles, which is kind of unusual for you, for people. But anyway, 4-year cycle. So every 4 years, you seem to trend the same way. Could be a different experience, but the outcome of your life is literally the same. So you need to stop that. You need to go into again, a more expansive direction. You've got really nice abilities. You're very intuitive, by the way, Bruno. But again, cycling over and over again, the same thing, it's not going to get you anymore. So take a breath in, Bruno, and then for those individuals who are similar to that. And by the way, if I read you or scanned you guys, please comment in. And there's so many people here, guys. Obviously I can't stay here all day. That one, Alpha Z, sounds like me. Let's see. Yeah. So for you, Bruno, again, helping you go, hey, wait a second. What can I learn from? Where one, I'm not getting pushed around. And by the way, there's almost like, I want to say somebody passed or crossed over, died when you were really young, or yeah. And then whether you experienced it or your mom experienced it, again, it pushes you into that direction of almost say death. So, and this is the key for you, Bruno. So no matter where you're going towards, you might even think it's good for you, but the reason why, you put the brakes on, dig in your heels, is because it's like you get closer and closer to say opportunities of death, which you don't want, because, well, you don't want to die. Nobody wants to do that. So all right. So if that makes sense. So what I was doing for you again is, and that's where you get your intuition, by the way. So whoever died back in the day when you were younger, or whoever got affected by death and then affected you, either way, it seems like your mom happened that way. She never got over a death from what I'm seeing, when you were younger. And then she basically latched onto your back and just keeps pushing you to a direction she wants to go, which is almost fear of death. Get it? So no matter how beneficial the route that you're taking, since it's taking you close to death, because you associate brilliance or abundance to death, right? That's not the best equation. So what I was doing for you here is like, hey, wait a second. You can tap into the brilliance of death, because there's a lot of knowledge that life, if you understand death, you'll understand life. So life becomes more vibrant, but it could be an expansive space, again, where you don't have to say die to expand or have abundance. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, a lot of great comments, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, great comments, by the way. Again, comment in if I analyzed you. All right, guys, for now, again, next week we'll have the video on. A lot of good stuff coming up. Sign up for the newsletter. Gives you a lot of free content, a lot of free tips. Take a look at the podcast, Exponential Intelligence podcast, coming up for you. And as we end, guys, start getting exponentially intelligent. That way, you start to know how to think rather than what to think. All right. All right, guys. Again, take care. Notice what you notice. Notice the details. Peace.